me ask you, you're an advocate for the preservation of Civil War battlefields. You're on part of the Civil War Trust. Can you tell me a little bit about that work and why, now that we're in the 150th anniversary, that people's attention's brought back to this war?
Well, the Civil War Trust is an organization that evolved out of two earlier organizations. One of them founded in the living room of a National Park Service ranger at Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania National Military Park back in the late 1980s, called the Association for the Preservation of Civil War Sites. And a second one that grew out of the Congressional Civil War Sites Advisory Commission in the early 1990s, called the Civil War Trust. These two were merged in 1999 and were called the Civil War Preservation Trust, and now it's just been shortened again to Civil War Trust. And they grew out of the concern by people in the National Park Service, Civil War historians, people who like to tour Civil War battlefields, about the degree to which important sites connected with the Civil War, and especially with Civil War battles, were disappearing under development, especially in Northern Virginia and actually in the area between Washington and Richmond, where the expansion of both of those cities, but especially Washington, is really spreading out to become a megalopolis. But what's going to happen to these battlefields and to parts of them that were not under protection by being part of a national park or a state park? They were disappearing by hundreds or thousands of acres every year. So concern about that led to the founding of these organizations. And now they have become, the Civil War Trust has become a very large membership organization with about 60,000 members. It's undertaking a major fund drive right now to raise money to save this land by buying it.
What's the most endangered battlefield right now?
I would say the battlefield area, the four battlefields around Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is exactly halfway between Washington and Richmond. It's now a bedroom community for Washington, housing expansion there. Much of the area has been saved by the action of the Civil War Trust. They bought 200 acres of the Fredericksburg battlefield that would have been housing development had they not done so. The same thing true at the Chancellorsville battlefield. There are still issues like that at the Wilderness battlefield. All of these are in the Fredericksburg area, and I would say that is one of the most endangered areas. There are other major battlefields that are already gone, have long since been gone. All four of the major battles around Atlanta have been long since covered by the expansion of that city. Same thing is true at Nashville. Pretty much the same thing is true at Chattanooga. They're gone. But what the Civil War Trust is trying to do is to prevent that from happening, where there's still an opportunity to save this land by buying a willing buyer and willing seller approach.
Explain to me then why someone would want to save these areas. I mean, we already have a fair number of the Civil War sites preserved. Why save those even more?
Well, to use the cliche, this is hallowed ground. People fought and died on this land, and to see it paved over, to be made, I'll just give one example. The Battle of Franklin in Tennessee on November 30th, 1864. There was almost nothing preserved there until recently, when there have been some important and successful efforts. But a spot where hundreds of Confederates, including General Patrick Cleburne, were killed in that was a Pizza Hut and a parking lot. Is that the way that our historical heritage should be treated? I think that's why you want to preserve this land, because people fought and died on this land, and it does seem kind of a sacrilege to pave it over with a parking lot or build a Pizza Hut on it.
Having gone through Franklin and that area before, it is. You kind of wonder from, there's a sign here and a sign here, and you can kind of follow the battle went through.
And that's possible much more now than it was 20 years ago, and more work is happening there to kind of to reclaim some of this land. The Pizza Hut is gone.
So if someone is interested in helping preserve the Civil War battlefields in the areas?
Well, the Civil War Trust has a website.
which we have a link on our site for.
And you can go to that, and they'll be happy to take your money and make you a member. And you'll get a nice, I think it's a monthly magazine called Hallowed Ground, maybe bi-monthly, with good articles about not only preservation news, but also nice articles about different Civil War events, Civil War battles, and Civil War history.
I'd be remiss if we didn't close out this web extra about asking you about Lincoln's connection to Idaho. Now, there are some in Idaho who claim that Lincoln is more associated with Idaho than any other state, which I know is cause for debate. But Lincoln did name Idaho, did make us a territory, did appoint all of our officials.
Well, Lincoln happened to be president when Idaho was made a territory, and so I guess he does have a close relationship with Idaho. He sort of was there at the birth of Idaho and helped to midwife it into existence, I guess, as a territory.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you taking time for this web extra.
Well, thank you.